Nyx, the primordial goddess of night. Before the sky had a name, before the earth had shape, before the gods ruled from shining mountains, there was night. And night was Nyx. She was not born of love, nor shaped by conflict. Nyx emerged at the beginning of existence itself, a primordial force older than the Titans, older than Olympus, older than time as mortals understand it. Where there was nothing, she existed. Where there was silence, she moved. Where light had not yet been imagined, Nyx ruled without challenge. Nyx was not merely the goddess of night. She was night, infinite, vast, and inevitable. In Greek mythology, the universe began with chaos, a formless void, neither good nor evil, neither light nor dark. From chaos came the first beings: Gaia, the earth; Tartarus, the abyss; Eros, the force of attraction; and Nyx, the embodiment of night. Unlike many later gods, Nyx did not need temples, prayers, or worship to exist. She was a natural law, as fundamental as gravity or time. Night fell not because Nyx chose to act, but because night was Nyx. Where she passed, darkness followed, not as an absence of light, but as a presence of power. Nyx dwelled at the edges of the cosmos, far beyond the reach of mortals and gods alike. Her home was a shadowed realm where light dared not linger, a place where silence carried weight and even immortals tread carefully. In some myths, Nyx lived in Tartarus itself, the deepest pit of existence. In others, she shared a dwelling at the far western edge of the world with her daughter Hemera, the goddess of day. Each evening, Nyx would rise from her dwelling and spread her cloak of darkness across the sky. Each morning, Hemera would follow, gently pushing the night away with light. Mother and daughter passed one another without conflict, maintaining the eternal rhythm of the universe. Nyx was often depicted riding a chariot drawn by dark horses, her black robes flowing like shadows in motion. Stars glittered in her wake, and the moon followed her path. Yet despite her beauty, Nyx was feared, even by the most powerful gods. Zeus himself, ruler of Olympus, king of gods and men, hesitated to challenge her. One of the most telling myths about Nyx's power involves Zeus and her son, Hypnos, the god of sleep. Hypnos had once helped Hera by putting Zeus into a deep sleep, allowing her to act against her husband without interference. When Zeus awoke and discovered the deception, his rage shook the heavens. He swore to destroy Hypnos. Terrified, Hypnos fled, not to Olympus, not to Gaia, but to Nyx. When Zeus arrived, thunderbolt in hand, ready to strike, he stopped. For even Zeus feared Nyx. The king of the gods turned away, unwilling to provoke the ancient goddess whose power surpassed his own. No lightning fell. No punishment came. This single moment revealed a profound truth. Nyx existed beyond Zeus's authority. Unlike Olympian gods who frequently interfered in mortal affairs, Nyx remained distant. She did not seduce mortals, wage wars, or play favorites. Her presence was constant and unchanging. When mortals prayed to Nyx, it was often in fear or desperation, for peaceful sleep, for protection in darkness, or for an end to suffering. She was not a goddess of comfort, but of truth. Artists and poets described Nyx as both terrifying and beautiful. Her darkness was not empty, it shimmered with stars. Her silence was not void, it was full of unseen movement. In some depictions, she had wings, symbolizing how swiftly night falls. In others, she held torches, not to bring light, but to guide souls through darkness. Nyx reminded mortals that light is temporary, but night always returns. Philosophically, Nyx represented the unknown. She was everything humanity could not control, predict, or fully understand. In her darkness lived fear, but also possibility. The Greeks did not see night as purely evil. It was necessary. Crops needed rest. Bodies needed sleep. Minds needed dreams. Without Nyx, the world would burn itself to exhaustion. Even in later mythology, when the Olympians dominated stories, Nyx remained untouched by their politics. She was not overthrown, imprisoned, or diminished. She endured. While Zeus ruled the sky, Poseidon the sea, and Hades the underworld, Nyx ruled something greater, the cycle itself. Every god slept beneath her sky. Some myths suggest that Nyx predated even chaos, existing as a self-born entity of pure darkness. Others say she emerged from chaos but quickly surpassed it. Regardless of origin, all stories agree on one thing: Nyx could not be challenged. She did not need worship. She did not need temples. Night came whether mortals believed in her or not. As Greek culture evolved, Nyx became less a character and more a symbol of mystery, cosmic order, and the quiet power that governs existence. She was the reminder that not all power shouts. Some power whispers. Some power waits. And some power simply is. Even today, Nyx lives on in modern culture, in literature, psychology, astronomy, and storytelling. Her name is spoken in whispers, her image tied to shadow and stars. She represents the eternal truth that darkness is not the enemy of light, it is its counterpart. Without night, there is no dawn. Nyx does not ask to be loved. She does not demand loyalty. She does not promise mercy. She arrives every evening, without fail. And when she spreads her cloak across the world, all beings, gods and mortals alike, bow to sleep, to dreams, and to the quiet certainty that morning will come, because night has passed. Nyx remains. Ancient. Unchallenged. Eternal. Nyx did not create life in warmth or joy. She did not give birth beneath sunlight or celebration. Her children emerged quietly, inevitably, as extensions of her nature. Where Nyx passed, existence learned its limits. And her children were those limits given form. Unlike the Olympian gods, whose children were born from desire, rivalry, or ambition, the offspring of Nyx represented forces, not personalities. They were not merely gods to be worshipped, but realities to be endured. Each child embodied something unavoidable: sleep, death, fate, suffering, vengeance, deception, fear, and hope. Together, they formed the hidden architecture of the universe. In some myths, Nyx birthed her children alone, self-created beings emerging from the depths of night itself. In others, she partnered with Erebus, the god of darkness, whose shadow complemented her own. Regardless of the version, one truth remains constant: Nyx's children were ancient, powerful, and beyond mortal control. They did not serve Olympus. They did not answer prayers lightly. They existed whether mortals acknowledged them or not. The Greeks believed that while Zeus ruled law and order, Nyx ruled consequence. And her children were those consequences made visible. Among the first of Nyx's children were Moros, Ker, and Thanatos, doom, violent death, and peaceful death. Moros was not death itself, but the feeling of knowing death was inevitable. He embodied the sense of dread that hangs in the air before catastrophe. When armies felt defeat before battle, Moros was present. When kings sensed their reign would end, Moros whispered. He did not kill. He warned. Ker, or the Kirs, represented violent death, bloodshed, battlefield slaughter, disease, and sudden endings. These spirits fed on chaos and suffering, hovering wherever violence erupted. Unlike Thanatos, they did not bring peace. They brought terror. In ancient art, the Kirs were depicted with dark wings and blood-stained hands, fighting over fallen warriors like vultures. Thanatos, by contrast, was quiet. He did not torment. He did not rush. Thanatos represented death as a natural conclusion, the final rest after life's exhaustion. When Thanatos arrived, there was no fear, only stillness. This distinction mattered deeply to the Greeks. Not all deaths were equal, and Nyx ruled over them all. Another of Nyx's children was Hypnos, the god of sleep. Hypnos was gentle, but unstoppable. Sleep could not be denied forever, not by mortals, not by heroes, not even by gods. Hypnos moved softly through the world, touching eyes, slowing thoughts, pulling consciousness into darkness. Every night, mortals unknowingly surrendered themselves to Nyx through Hypnos. Hypnos lived in a silent cave near the river Lethe, surrounded by poppies and darkness. From this place, dreams were released into the world. And dreams were powerful. From Hypnos came the Oneiroi, the spirits of dreams. They did not speak truth plainly. They whispered in symbols. Some dreams carried warnings. Some carried lies. Some revealed hidden desires. The Greeks believed dreams were messages from the divine, and because dreams came from Nyx's lineage, they were never fully trustworthy. Nyx also gave birth to Nemesis, the goddess of retribution. Nemesis ensured balance. When mortals grew arrogant, when kings abused power, when heroes believed themselves above fate, Nemesis arrived. She did not punish out of anger. She punished out of necessity. Justice, to the Greeks, was not mercy, it was equilibrium. Then there was Eris, goddess of strife. Eris did not need armies or weapons. She needed only a whisper. From Eris came rivalry, jealousy, resentment, and war. It was Eris who ignited the Trojan War with a single golden apple, proving that conflict often begins small. Nyx did not stop her. Conflict, like night, had a place in the universe. Among Nyx's most feared children were the Moirai, the Fates. Clotho spun the thread of life. Lachesis measured it. Atropos cut it. Not even Zeus could command them. The Fates answered only to the cosmic order, an order older than Olympus, older than law, older than kings. They were the ultimate expression of Nyx's power, inevitability. Together, Nyx's children governed every unseen force shaping mortal existence. Life was lived beneath their influence, often without awareness. Sleep before battle. Dreams before decisions. Strife before war. Fate before death. Nyx did not intervene, she orchestrated reality through them. And this was only the beginning. For Night had many children, and each one reveals another truth about the fragile balance of existence. Hypnos and Thanatos. Sleep and death as cosmic boundaries. Hypnos and Thanatos were born together. Twin sons of Nyx. Two forces that shaped every living being. One brought rest. The other brought release. Both were inevitable. Hypnos ruled the realm between waking and unconsciousness. He moved softly through the world, unseen and unfelt until his work was done. No being could resist him forever. Even the gods were subject to sleep. When eyelids grew heavy, when thoughts slowed, when the world faded into darkness, Hypnos was present. Sleep was not weakness to the ancient Greeks. It was surrender. A daily reminder that control was an illusion. Every night mortals yielded their bodies, their defenses, their awareness. They trusted Hypnos without realizing it. Through him Nyx touched every living mind. Hypnos lived far from noise and conflict, in a cave wrapped in silence, near the river Lethe. Lethe erased memory, and sleep prepared the mind to forget. Around his dwelling grew poppies, heavy with drowsiness, perfumed with oblivion. From Hypnos came dreams, not random, not meaningless. Dreams were messages, but never clear ones. Some warned of danger, some revealed desire, some deceived. The Oneiroi carried these dreams, shaping them into symbols and shadows. Mortals awoke uncertain, unsure of what they had seen, or why. This uncertainty was intentional. Dreams belonged to the night, and the night belonged to Nyx. Thanatos ruled the final boundary. Where sleep ended, death began. Thanatos did not rage. He did not hunt. He did not judge. He arrived when the thread of life had reached its end. To the Greeks, death was not an enemy. It was an ending. Thanatos was not cruel. He was precise. When he came, pain ceased. Struggle ended. There was no bargain, no escape, no delay. Unlike the violent spirits of death, Thanatos was calm. He did not feed on suffering. He did not delight in fear. He closed the eyes and carried the soul onward. Mortals feared death, but they feared endless suffering more. Thanatos spared them that fate. In this way he was merciful. Sleep and death were linked, but they were not the same. Sleep was temporary surrender. Death was permanent release. Both required trust, and both were governed by Nyx. The Greeks believed that dying felt like falling asleep, a final quiet descent into darkness. This belief softened the terror of death, for everyone had slept, and everyone would sleep again. Even heroes feared Thanatos, not because he was violent, but because he could not be defeated. Strength could not delay him. Courage could not bargain. Fame could not protect. There were myths where Thanatos was tricked, bound or delayed, but never destroyed. Death could pause, but never disappear. When Thanatos was absent, chaos followed. Life extended beyond its natural limit. Suffering multiplied. Balance collapsed. Only when death returned did order restore itself. This revealed an important truth. Death was not evil. It was necessary, and Nyx understood this. Through Hypnos and Thanatos, Nyx governed the rhythm of existence. Wake, sleep, life, death. A cycle older than gods, older than law, older than memory. No temple was built for them. Yet every bed was their altar, every final breath their domain. The night came, sleep followed, and one day, death would come as well, not as punishment, but as completion. And still Nyx remained, watching, waiting, unchanging. The fates, doom, destiny, and the thread of life. Before kings ruled, before gods argued, before laws were written, fate already existed, and fate answered to Nyx. The Moirai were born of night, children of Nyx, ancient beyond measure. They did not create life. They controlled its length. There were three: Clotho, Lachesis, Atropos. Together they governed existence. Clotho spun the thread of life. With each birth a thread emerged. Thin or strong, long or short. No celebration could change its nature. Lachesis measured the thread. She decided how far it would extend. How much time was given. Not even gods could alter her measure. Atropos waited. She did not rush. She did not hesitate. When the moment arrived, she cut, and life ended. The Moirai did not judge. They did not reward virtue. They did not punish cruelty. They enforced balance. Heroes prayed to them. Kings feared them. Gods respected them. None could command them. Zeus ruled Olympus. But even he obeyed fate. Thunder could shake the sky. But it could not cut or extend the thread. This truth terrified the gods. Power meant nothing against inevitability. And inevitability belonged to Nyx. Mortals lived beneath the Moirai, often unaware. Every choice felt free. Yet every path had limits. This did not mean life was meaningless. It meant time was precious. The Greeks believed fate set boundaries. But within those boundaries, choice still mattered. Courage mattered. Honor mattered. Compassion mattered. Fate determined when, not how. Some myths told of mortals who learned their fate. Those who tried to escape it only ensured it. Attempts to defy destiny often fulfilled it. This was the cruelty of fate, and also its perfection. The Moirai did not act out of malice. They maintained order. Without them, life would sprawl endlessly, without meaning or end. And so death had value. Because life ended, the Moirai worked in silence. No announcements. No warnings. Threads were spun. Measured. Cut. The universe continued. Even time bowed to them. Past, present and future were all visible. This made the Moirai terrifying. They knew endings before beginnings. Nyx did not interfere. She trusted them. They were her will, given form. While Olympians fought for power, fate waited, unmoving, unavoidable. Every cradle, every battlefield, every quiet bed, the Moirai were present. Life moved forward, not because it wanted to, but because it was allowed to. And when allowance ended, so did life. Still the night returned, and Nyx remained. Strife, vengeance, dreams, and the eternal legacy of night. Not all children of Nyx governed endings. Some governed conflict. Some governed memory. Some governed consequence. Together they ensured the world never remained still. Eris was born of night. She did not wield blades. She wielded division. A single thought. A single doubt. A single comparison. From these wars were born. Eris did not need hatred. She needed pride. Where pride grew, conflict followed. She walked among gods and whispered, "Who is greater? Who is favored? Who deserves more?" And resentment ignited. The Trojan War did not begin with armies. It began with a choice, a golden apple, a question of beauty. And from that question, years of suffering followed. Eris revealed the truth. Conflict does not require evil intent. It requires imbalance. Nyx allowed this. Strife was part of growth. Without tension, there was no change. Nemesis followed Eris. Where arrogance rose, she arrived. Nemesis was not cruel. She restored balance. When mortals believed themselves untouchable, when kings ruled without restraint, When heroes ignored humility, Nemesis answered. She did not act quickly, but she never failed. Retribution was not revenge. It was correction. Through Nemesis, Nyx ensured the universe did not tilt too far. Dreams also belonged to night, and dreams shaped reality. The Oneiroi moved silently. They did not speak with voices. They spoke with images. A falling tower, a dark river, a closed door, meaning hid beneath symbols. Some dreams warned, some misled, some revealed desire. The Greeks feared dreams, because truth and deception walked together. Dreams allowed the future to touch the present, and the night made that possible. Nyx ruled this space, between what is and what might be. Her influence reached every being, even those who denied the gods. Still slept, still dreamed, still faced fate. Nyx never demanded worship. She did not need belief. The Olympians ruled domains, but Nyx ruled existence. Night fell on temples and palaces alike. Kings slept, beggars slept. All were equal beneath darkness. Light was temporary. Night was inevitable. Civilizations rose and fell. Stars shifted. Gods were forgotten. Still night returned. Nyx endured. Unchallenged. Unchanging. She was not evil. She was necessary. Without night, there was no rest, no dream, no ending, and without endings, there was no meaning. So the night comes, softly, silently, and all things yield. Nyx remains, ancient, eternal, watching,